Welcome, everybody. Let's start with the economy today. There is a perspective that Joe Biden's debate performance is not going to impact the election in November, but that the state of the economy is. And we have some extraordinary news. For the first time since 2020, monthly inflation has actually declined. I will explain to you what this means. I will explain to you why the MAGA right thinks that this is fantastic, even if it may not actually be the case. So CNBC reports this morning, because it's July, we got our June inflation numbers. Inflation falls 0.1% in June from prior month, helping the case for lower rates. We're talking about the federal funds rate. The article explains the monthly inflation rate dipped in June for the first time in more than 4 years, providing cover for the Fed to start lowering rates later this year. The Consumer Price Index, which is a broad measure of goods and services across the U.S. economy, declined 0.1% from May, putting the 12-month rate around 3%, around its lowest level in more than 3 years. The all items index rate fell from 3.3% in May when it was flat. If we go and read a little bit lower into the article, you see that the month-over-month percent change has been positive dating back 4 years. A couple of months it's been zero, but this is the first actual decline, down 0.1% in June of 2024. Gas prices also declined in June. Electricity prices declined in June. Rent had its smallest monthly increase of just 0.2% since August of 2021. Now, here's the interesting and important thing here. MAGA people have been accurately on the facts, but wrongly on the meaning, saying for years now, as we report that inflation is still positive, but it has come down from pandemic highs. They go, well, but things are still more expensive than they were before the pandemic. Yes, that's true. And things were more expensive before the pandemic than they were under Obama. And things were more expensive under Obama than they were under Bush. Why is this the case? Well, because there's inflation in traditional economics. In healthy economies, you have some inflation. And so things do get more expensive over time. The goal is that wage growth exceeds inflation. It doesn't always happen. It has actually been happening under Joe Biden. But the point I'm getting to is the following. A lot of MAGA people have insisted we won't say that inflation is really under control until we see actual declines. Now, actual declines are quite rare, and they're not particularly attractive. Now, down 0.1% 1 month is not a big deal. But as I've explained before, and please, if you already understand this, bear with me, because if I don't include this in the segment, then I will get emails and people will say, David, I don't get it. What are you talking about? You want a little bit of inflation. Not a lot, but you usually do not want deflation. Why not? Well, it's easy if you imagine the two scenarios. If you have significant inflation, particularly as it exceeds wage growth, people can't afford things, so they don't buy things. If inflation is too high, you can't afford certain products. You don't buy them. This hurts the businesses that make those products. Those businesses have to lay people off. Their employees have less money with which to purchase things. You can see how that would be bad for the economy. A deflationary situation might sound attractive. Hey, if prices go down, all of a sudden I can afford everything I want to buy. The problem with deflation, minus 0.1%, is not really deflation. We're talking about a deflationary spiral. If you start seeing down 2%, down 2%, down 2%, if the expectation becomes prices are going to continue declining, people wouldn't buy things because you would say to yourself, hey, if I wait another month, it'll be cheaper. If I wait another month, it'll be cheaper. The fact that people aren't buying things on the expectation that they will be cheaper hurts the businesses selling the products. The businesses have to lay people off, and the exact same cycle is triggered. So this is why in traditional Western, democratic, capitalist economies, it's considered that you want a little bit of inflation, usually between 2 and 3%. It's just enough that it generates economic growth, but also incentivizes people to buy now, even though it's enough that you can afford it. If you wait, things will get more expensive. Okay, so the MAGAs have been saying we actually want a decline. They don't seem to understand that carried out indefinitely, that would be a bad thing for the economy. But they got one. They finally got one of these declines. Too much of it wouldn't be good, but it's hilarious that what MAGA claims would be a sign that the economy is doing well, even if it isn't, has now happened under President Joe Biden. Will this ultimately matter more than Joe Biden's debate performance? Well, it's a predictive question. We don't have the answer. We have to wait to see. But certainly historically, and this sort of goes to the framework of someone like an Alan Lichtman, who we spoke to yesterday, who makes a qualitative analysis of what's going on rather than, oh, the debate performance, I don't know. And what about the age of the candidates? No. He says qualitatively, we need to look at these scenarios, and qualitatively, the perception of a solid and steady economy is very useful and advantageous to incumbents trying to get themselves reelected. So that's the latest with inflation. Let's now zoom out a little bit more and take a broader view of the economy. I often struggle to find a good pair of socks that fits right and is comfortable. Our sponsor Strideline have developed the most comfortable socks on earth. They have it trademarked, and it's true, they really are that comfortable. I love my Strideline socks. Strideline has spent years developing extraordinarily comfortable, functional socks that you just have to try to understand. Every Strideline sock gives you zoned cushioning, direct compression with a contour fit, and hydrophobic moisture wicking to prevent the rubbing and the smells. Strideline is also officially a partner of the NFL, MLB, NCAA, and Major League Soccer. So Strideline is where you can go to keep your feet warm on game day. I picked up these awesome New England Patriots socks, even though the Patriots are... Okay, anyway. I also love Strideline because they offer socks made from recycled plastic bottles that come out of the ocean, so you can make your feet and the earth more comfortable. And Strideline supports what we do at the David Pakman Show, another great reason to support them. Go enhance your comfort with a 20% discount only for the David Pakman Show. No other show is getting this discount. Use code PAKMAN for 20% off at strideline.com. The link is down below.